dog. My mother-in-law has a little dachshund dog that every time the doorbell rings, the dog goes nuts, jumps up and down, bark, 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 runs through the door every time the doorbell rings. The doorbell could ring 87 times a day, and the dog would go nuts 87 times a day. Doorbell rings, dog jumps up and down, bark, 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 runs to the door. You know what I've discovered in the last 14 years? The door's never been for him once. That is a positive attitude. And if you and I are going to restore our mojo, we have got to change our attitude. Attitude, it either crushes what is negative or it is how we're thinking. And if we are thinking that Kiwanis isn't much fun, if we're thinking our club isn't much fun, guess what? It's not going to be much fun. Attitude is where you and I connect with what's positive, what we're anticipating. 95% of what you see, hear, and read every day is negative. And if you and I are not careful, we are focused on the negatives to the point that we lose our perspective, we lose our focus. And you and I need to understand that you'll see it when you believe it. It doesn't make any difference what it is. You've got to see it first. If you see your club bigger, it's going to be bigger. You and I have got to change what we see. We've got to change what we're looking for. Your club can grow. Yes or yes? You have friends that will join Kiwanis. Yes or yes? You can raise up the level or the leaders that we need for our clubs. Yes or yes? I'm not going to give you a chance to say no because we can do this. The best days of Kiwanis are before us. Yes or yes? And when you and I have that kind of attitude, we're going to be able to do some things that we will never be able to do if we don't have a positive attitude and a yes attitude. So when we invite people to come into our club, what's the glue that's going to make new members stick? I've inserted this into this presentation because I am doing this as a Zoom meeting for our district. I've done one and I'm going to do another one next Thursday. But what's the glue that's going to make new members stick? The question is, are the members of your club stuck? And the answer is probably yes. Are you focused more on your current members or are you focused more on your new members? What would happen if you would intentionally do some things that would glue your new members to your club, that help them stick? One of the challenges that we have in Kiwanis at times is that we invite people to join, we invite people to come, and yet they don't stick. I don't remember the numbers anymore because I'm out of the loop, but back in 2005, we would invite way more people to come to Kiwanis, but we would lose more people than we invited. And I think one of the reasons is because we didn't do some things to help them stick. Our clubs can be stuck in cliques. I mean, we're talking to the same people all the time. We're sitting at the same table, and we're just kind of cliquish. When I go visit a club, I try to find that table and sit at it. And quite frankly, my friends, there have been times I've been asked to move because I was at the wrong table. We're stuck on bad habits. We're stuck on staying in our comfort zone. And if we're not careful, that's where we want to stay, where we're comfortable, where we've been. Or we're stuck on an unwillingness to change. We've been talking about change for a long time. I've been talking about change. I will probably continue talking about change because it seems at times our clubs and our leaders are not willing to change. And so you and I have got to decide, is my club stuck? Are we stuck? And that means we're jammed, we're wedged, we're clamped, we're cemented, we're bound, we're embedded, we're immovable, we're entrenched, and we're unyielding. Or what's it going to take for our new members to get out of that stuck mindset to help your new members stick to what is a great opportunity for them to make a difference in the community and to serve along with you? And it's important that we ask that question, but it's also important that we give some answers. It's important that we say, yes, we're going to do some things that are really going to help our new members stick. We're going to do some things that bind us together that maybe we've never, ever, ever done before. Because when we stick, that means we adhere, we cleave, we cling. It means that we become closely attached. It just means that we're glued together. So, what is it going to take for us to be able to stick together? I want to give you 5 insights when it comes to new members, 5 things that I think are so important that you and I do. And quite frankly, my friends, when your club is growing, when your club is adding new members, there's a mojo factor that happens. There's an excitement that happens. There's some fun that happens, and there's this anticipation that there's some good things that are going to happen. The first thing you've got to see from their eyes your club experience beginning to end. You got to see it from their eyes. It's so important when we are inviting people into our club that we try to look through their eyes what they're seeing. They decide in the first 12 minutes if they're coming back. They decide in the first 12 minutes if your club is friendly. They decide if this is going to be a great experience. They decide if they want to invest money or time into this. The 12-minute rule applies everywhere. People that go to church decide if they're going to stay in the first 12 minutes. And it's so important that you and I have that fun factor. It's important that you and I are greeting people and welcoming them and making them feel very, very special. It's important that our meetings are well run, that they're moving, and it's important that you and I see what they see to the best of our ability. Do they see excitement? Do they see forward thinking? Do they see opportunities? Do they see significance, that they can be a part of something that is significant? It's so important that they see those things. And quite frankly, do they see positivism? Do they think for an hour during the week they're going to be able to be in a situation with a group of people that just have fun and that mojo is flowing and there's some excitement? So you've got to see the club experience from their eyes. I want to encourage you to practice the Mefina principle. M-M-F-I-N-A. I have been teaching the Mefina principle forever all over the world. I want you to see M-M-F-I-N-A on every person's forehead. Now, this applies outside of Qantas as well as inside of Qantas. What's that mean? It's real simple. Make me feel important, needed, and accepted. If you and I will practice the Mefina principle and make every person, new or old, feel important, needed, and accepted, you're going to have mojo that's going to be exciting and thrilling. The second thing, if we're going to get our members, new members to stick, teach them the vision of Qantas and why your Qantas exists. It's so important that you teach them the vision of Qantas and why your club exists. You want them to see the why. You want them to see why. It's not what you do, it's not how you do it, it's why you do it. And you're going to have people that are going to stick and stay quicker if you talk more about the why instead of the what you do and when you do it. It's just important that we really help people understand that we exist to improve the lives through fellowship in service. Qantas, we wrote this back in 2005, and one of the main reasons why we did it is because I was tired of people referring to Qantas like Rotary and Lions when they were trying to explain Qantas. And that defining statement helps us say what Qantas is. It's a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world, one child and one community at a time. That's why the club that I live and attend in exists. We are going to improve the world one child and one community at a time. New members want to see that before they see the how and the why. Our club is either going to be visualizing the future or we're going to be fossilized. And it's your choice. It's my choice. And that Mojo plays into it for us to understand the difference. The third thing, include them in conversations, activities, planning, and service. It's so important that we ask them questions. It's even more important that we include them in activities and planning and in the service projects that we have. People support what they help create. Don't ever forget that. And one of the reasons why we have low participation at times in our activities is because we do not give people a chance to help create it. This is a principle that is so important. People support what they help create. Let those new members, as well as your old members, create those opportunities and check on them in between meetings. It's so important that you and I connect with them. Check in with them. How do you do that? Just pick up the phone. Now, I know we live in a world of texting. Quite frankly, this is my bias. I don't like it. I would rather talk instead of text, but I am married to a lady. We just celebrated 50 years of marriage in December. That is the most awesome lady that you would ever meet, but she will text me, even in my office. We live in the country outside of Des Moines, Iowa. I have an office on our acreage where we live, and instead of just calling me, she'll text me, which just blows my mind. Pick up the phone and call, or text and just connect with them, which is important, or invite them to coffee. Just ask them if they have a minute to meet for coffee or for lunch, and just ask them what did you see, what did you think, what's going on, and just really do whatever you can to motivate them. Number 4, kill them with attention. It's so important that you and I just do incredible things and make them, well, that they're not, remember their name. I'm amazed at the number of times that I have gone to events and nobody remembers their name, or even our club. I will tell you that I was not invited to join Kiwanis. I was president of a college at the time when I joined, and I went to Rotary, I went to Lions, and then I went to Kiwanis to see what they were doing, and then I decided what organization that I wanted to. I joined the downtown Des Moines Kiwanis Club at that time, and we had an executive secretary who was at the table checking in people. Her name was Carol, and I went down and visited one day and told her what I was doing. I was there to check them out. She said, well, why don't you come back the next week? So I went back the next week. What's the first thing that she said when I came back? Hey, Steve, so good to see you. Remember their name. They need to be welcomed by at least 3 members at each meeting. And it's so important that people will take time to talk to, especially those new people that we're inviting. Take them around and introduce them to other members, and share with them their names and kind of what they do. Talk about them from the podium. I always try to talk about our new members from the podium. I've had the privilege to serve as president of our club. And when we do that, and we've been brought in a new member, it's always been important to talk about them from the podium. And then after they've gone to 2 or 3 meetings, just ask for their feedback, ask for their questions, or their comments. What are your concerns? And be open and willing to listen and to be willing to change if you can or need to, but give them an opportunity to express their feelings and their thoughts. And then kill them. One of the things that I think we need to do, and I'm being facetious right now, so be careful. We just got to kill them. What do we got to kill them with? We got to kill them with kindness. We've got to kill them with information, not only about our club, but the why we exist. Kill them with that welcoming attitude. that they just feel so noticed. They feel so comfortable. They feel so welcomed. Kill them with anticipation of what your club is going to do this year. Here's some things we're going to do. We did these things last year. We're going to add a couple new anticipation of what we can become. Kill them with networking, giving them an opportunity. The younger generation that wants to join groups, they want to join groups where they can network. And we're missing the mark if we don't encourage that and ask them to do that. Kill them with involvement. Give them opportunities. And it's not just welcoming at the door. It's not just in greeting people as they come in. Give them an opportunity to be involved in some of your old projects or new, but involve them and kill them with service. And if you will do those simple 7 little things, if you will kill them with kindness, if information, if you'll be welcoming, if you'll kill them with anticipation and networking and involvement, my friends, you just killed them with Kiwanis. And they're going to stick when you and I do some simple things that make a difference like that. So you want them to stick? We do. We all do. See from their eyes. Teach them. Include them. Check on them. And kill them with the Kiwanis message and the story. And so the challenge is go glue your new members so they stick. Because if we don't do some intentional things and some very specific things, I don't know if we're going to have the retention rate that we want and the success that we want as well. So what's it going to take for our mojo? First of all, we got to check our attitudes. The second, we've got to glue those new members so that they stick. But before I answer the third one, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are men that just need supervision. And you ladies are going to know that us guys just do some things at times that just need to be supervised because we come up with what we think are great ideas, but sometimes in the big picture of everything is probably not the best. And yet we need to be supervised. It's just important that you and I understand that and what we do and how we do that. And by the way, this guy got a ticket for doing that, which I think is hilarious. It's important that you and I understand that men need supervision, but guess what? Everybody needs supervision, and our clubs need supervision. And if we're going to maintain our mojo, number 3 is challenge your perspective. Perspective is so, so, so important. You lose your perspective, you will change. And it's important that you challenge your perspective. We've just got to check it at times, the validity, because we can quickly lose our perspective. And perspective is how you view things. If your perspective is, oh, great, I've got to go to another Kiwanis meeting, guess what? That Kiwanis meeting is going to be exactly what you anticipated. If you go to a board meeting, oh, great, we've got a board meeting, I got to go to board meeting. Oh, great, we got to go flip pancakes because we're having a pancake breakfast or a pancake fundraiser. How you view things determines how it goes. Perspective. You want mojo? Don't lose your perspective. And if we're not careful, we view things as not reality. We view them in a way that we don't see the reality of the situation. And it's important that every once in a while we just take time to challenge and to view our perspective. Socrates says, by all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. And it's important that you and I keep the right perspective. So how do you keep things happy? I want to encourage us guys to carry a 3x5 card in your wallet so that you know the difference between dangerous, safer, and safest. And this will make sense, but get a little 3x5 card and write dangerous, safer, and safest, and so that you know the difference. Dangerous, you go home, what's for dinner? Safer, how can I help you with dinner? Safest, where would you like to go for dinner? Just important that you and I know these differences. This is all perspective. Dangerous, should you be eating that? This might be safer. You know, there are lots of apples left. The safest is, can I get you a glass of wine with that? It's important that you and I know the difference. Dangerous, what did you do all day? Safer, I hope you didn't overdo it today. And the safest is, I've always loved you in that robe. It's so it's so important you and I keep the right perspective. The right perspective helps us capture the value and helps us keep the mojo going. I I had the roughest landing I've ever had in Dallas, Texas. I have 3.5 million miles behind my name. I'm not afraid to fly, but I had the roughest landing I've ever had in my life. The airplane came down. We hit that tarmac 4 times and bounced up and down, bounced up and down, bounced up and down. Every door in that plane came open. I mean, it was absolutely the scariest thing I've ever been through in my life. I thought we were done. I honestly did. I thought we are going to die. Goodbye. I was sitting next to a lady who was 93 years old. She walked with a cane. And I noticed that when she came on the plane, she was carrying a couple bags. And so I offered to carry the bags off for her, and she accepted the invitation. And so she's walking down the aisle with her cane. We stop at the cockpit where the captain is standing, literally apologizing for the landing. She takes her cane, she hooks it around the neck, she pulls his face right down into her face, and she said, "Did we land or were we shot down?" I went up the jetway and told her when we got to the top, I said, if you lived in Des Moines, Iowa, I'd have coffee with you every day. Most of the people getting off that plane wouldn't even look at that captain, let alone talk to that captain or even acknowledge that captain. You and I can quickly lose our perspective. Yes, it was a rough landing, but we were alive. And it's important that you and I understand we can look at problems as opportunities, but that's perspective. You and I can have setbacks or they can be blessings. That is a perspective. And it's so important that you and I, when we hear a no, might really mean at some point it's going to be a yes. Perspective. If you want your Qantas mojo, don't lose your perspective and always work on maintaining that. Opportunities aren't obligations. I, I'm amazed. Our, I'm a part of Qantas to serve. I hope you're a part of Qantas to serve. I can serve until I die. I want to live my life giving it away. I am the happiest. You are the happiest when we're doing things for other people. And so opportunities are not obligations. It's just how we see them. It's our perspective. And it's so important that you and I change our view. So important. We've got old in our thinking. We've gotten old in our perspective. We've gotten old in our view of really why we're Kiwanians and what we do. And yet it's so important that we change our view because how you see things can determine your perspective. And isn't it amazing what happens when a camera is at the right place at the right time? You're going to see things that you would never, ever see. And it's so important that you and I are always, always, always challenging our perspective and changing our view because it's important that we see things as they really are. And Qantas has an opportunity for us to do some amazing things in what we do. But we can't just keep looking like we looked in the past. We can't just be thinking like we've always been thinking in the past. We can't just be doing like we've always done in the past. We can't just look the same year after year after year and expect things to be better. It's important we change our view. So you will think differently when you start doing differently. Um, we've had a pancake breakfast in our club forever. Pancakes with Santa. It just kind of fizzled out and just was kind of dying. People were not coming. Our club members were bored with it. It was becoming a real attitude. Oh, great, we got to do pancakes with Santa. So I suggested, why don't we do pancakes with superheroes? And why don't we do it instead of December? We do it in February. And why don't we bring in a superhero group and let those kids interact with those superheroes? We involve the superheroes that are currently on social media and in the movies, but we also involve the firemen and the police. And so we just had our pancake breakfast about 4 weeks ago. And instead of having about 100 where the other one went to, we had almost 800 people that showed up for pancakes with superheroes. You and I, if we think differently and start doing differently, will have a different perspective because old patterns will be broken, new worlds will emerge, and you and I will be able to do some things. I want to challenge yourself to the 5% dare. Challenge 5% of your perspective on a regular basis and make sure that it's accurate, make sure that it's right, make sure that it's what you want to do. But if you'll take the 5% dare and challenge 5% of your perspectives on a regular basis, you will change. You'll see the way things really look, and you change the way you look at things. I have people all the time saying to me, well, how do you define success? My definition of success is very simple. At age 4, it's not peeing in your pants. At age 12, it's having friends. 16, it's having a driver's license. 20, it's believing you are sexy. 35, it's having money. 50, it's having money. 60, it's believing you are sexy. 70, it's having a driver's license. 75, it's having friends. And 80, it's not peeing in your pants. So if you want to know what success is, that's my definition of success. The last thing, if we're going to keep our Qantas mojo, chase what's important. We spend a lot of time chasing things that are not important. We spend a lot of time thinking about things that are not that important. And I want to encourage you to chase what's important. Choose to make a difference. That's important. Don't just always be what you've always been. Don't always think the way you've always thought. Choose to make a difference because that is important. Your daily schedule reflects your deepest values. A part of my daily schedule is just being willing to be interrupted to meet the needs of people. If I plan my day to the point where I don't have time for people, I don't have time for interruptions, I'm losing something that I think is very, very important. Change your focus. What is that? Is it a blessing or is it an inconvenience? Is it a problem or is it an opportunity? And our focus every day is so important. I want to encourage you to have the attitude of that lady on the plane. Her focus was, yeah, this was a horrible landing. But guess what? We're alive and we have opportunities. And so change your focus. Cherish what you can serve. That's what is important. You're going to be remembered for what you gave, not what you received. And it's so important in our lives that you and I focus and cherish what's important, and what you can serve and who you can serve is so important. You've heard this before, but service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. And it's so important that you and I never, ever, ever forget that we are a part of a group whose mission is to serve. Envision your finish line. I don't know about you, but I want to end well. And it's so important that you and I understand the end result. I want to die well. I don't know that I want to die rich. In fact, I'm not concerned about that. I want to die with memories that money cannot buy. I'm not interested in dying rich. I want to die with friendships that can't be broken. I don't know that I want to die rich. I want to die serving people. And if you and I chase what's important, you're going to have mojo. I wish that I could tell you that I can give you mojo. I can't. You have to give the mojo to you. But if you'll take these simple little ideas and these simple little principles and make them a part of your club, make them a part of your personal life, you're going to have mojo. It's time to increase your desire. It's time to increase your passion. And if you increase your desire and your passion, you'll be motivated to increase your mojo. It's that simple, but it's you and I doing it so that we can be the best Kiwanian and the best club possible. Change your attitude. Glue your new members so they stick. Challenge your perspective and be a group of people that chase what's important. And if you'll do those 4 simple things, you'll keep your Kiwanis mojo. I want to suggest to you that it's a great time to be a Kiwanian in Western Canada. It's the best time to be. And if we do these simple little things, you and I are going to be able to do some amazing things. This is how you can get in touch with me. That's my email. I'll be happy to answer any questions. We have a couple more minutes according to my Iowa time. Well, 1 more minute before we go back to what you're going to do. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And I will answer any questions if you have some right now or till they tell us we can't do it.
Steve,
Yes.
there's one part of this. I've lived this conundrum of Kiwanis and watching the membership issue, and we don't need to go into that. But there's one element I'd love to hear your comment on. You use the word "you" and mojo. I'd like to offer to everybody that the principles that you talked about have to be, in my opinion, adopted by the club that you belong to. The club has to have its own mojo. It has to follow the same basic principles you outlined, because we've got to attach our mojo to a club. Your comments?
I agree with that. Everything rises and falls on the leadership. So if you have a leader with mojo, you're probably going to have a club with mojo. If you have a leader that's excited about being a Kiwanian, you're probably going to have an exciting Kiwanis. My point in that you and I have to decide the mojo. Absolutely. When 5 people come to a Kiwanis meeting with mojo, that becomes the culture of the club. Yeah. When the culture of the club is, we're going to have a futuristic attitude, we're going to serve with great anticipation and excitement, we're going to have meetings that are fun to be a part of. That culture is the mojo. Then, and you're right, that Kiwanis club has to have that. And one of the things that I encourage clubs to do is, if you feel like you don't, go through these 4 principles that we just talked about at a club meeting and just simply say, hey, what is the mojo, that what attitudes do we need to change? What perspectives do we have that we need to challenge? What's really important that we need to do? and as a club work together to improve that and to change that. But I agree, your club has to have a mojo, but that comes from the leadership.
We've got a message saying that we're breakout room. Roland's going to shut us out in 30 seconds. So Steve, I don't know about anybody else, but I have pages of notes following your suggestion, and very much thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and I don't know, I feel kind of fired up. So thank you very much
It was my
for
pleasure.
taking time today to come to us from Des Moines, Iowa, and we're all going to be bumped out in 2.
Think about
even the best of us.
one of the things that I'm getting out